Isn't it amazing how tech can bring us together in the most unexpected ways? So tonight, we decided to dive into the gaming universe. Just imagine the scene. We were all set up, headsets on, fingers on the controls, ready for action. The game? Star Wars. You know us. We're all suckers for a bit of science fiction. "May the Force be with us," someone said as we began. Now let me tell you, when we started playing, we were as clumsy as a cat on a hot tin roof. I mean, virtual football is one thing, but this was next level. We'd be walking into walls, missing shots, and my spaceship, well, it saw more of the inside of a comet than it did of open space. We were having a blast, though, right up until Juwan suggested we try his newly coded bouldering simulation. He had been working on it tirelessly, telling us all it's going to be incredible. But, you know what's funny? As we switched the game, Yuna piped up, "Aye, aye, Captain, ready to dive into the gaming ocean." We all laughed, and I told her, well, at least we won't end up walking off a cliff. We were all in the same boat, navigating through virtual boulders, and surprisingly, we were getting the hang of it. That's when I had a thought. What if we could combine the joy of cooking with this bouldering sim? Imagine telling a digital rock to turn into a baguette or a block of cheese. I guess I'm just hungry and obsessed, but yeah, wouldn't that be something? By the way, do you remember Noah, who loves all things tech? He was there too, his eyes popping out at all the gadgets we had around. You can bet your bottom dollar he would put a 5-star rating for that gaming experience. We were really feeling like kids in a candy shop with all these games and gadgets. So in between games, we did a little tech quest, exploring all these crazy new gadgets that were on exhibit at the Tech Expo last week. You know, the one I was telling you about. But for all our fun, I found myself missing our old street football during those gaming breaks. The physical exertion, the shouts and cheers, the team spirit. Maybe one day I can get Minjun and Lucas to play a real football match with us again. I mean, the digital world is fun, but there's just something special about the smell of the field, the adrenaline, the shared experiences. Anyway, I have an early shift tomorrow and a bunch of sourdough starter waiting for me in the kitchen. You know what's funny? I just couldn't help myself today, dove right into the sweet past of my childhood. I decided to take a break from my normal pizza and pasta mastery and ended up baking bread instead. Not just any bread, though, my mom's age-old recipe. There's just something about the smell of fresh bread filling the house that brings back a hive of memories. I remember the first time I baked with her. I must have been around 8 years old. We were back in Busan then, you remember, right? And I was barely tall enough to see over the kitchen counter. She hoisted me up onto a chair, handed me the ingredients, and guided my little hands to mix them together, a parade of flour and yeast creating magic. It definitely wasn't the same today. No giggling sister trying to steal pieces of dough or Superman aprons and messy hair. But it was a momentary trip down memory lane, reliving my first culinary experiences. Bread making, I must say, is a different ballgame compared to the hustle and bustle of the restaurant kitchen. It requires a sort of patience, attention, love that takes me back to the basics. It's always a refreshing experience. Shared my adventure with Ju and Yuna in the group chat, and of course Yuna instantly asked for a promise to bring some to our next climb. I mean, you can't say no to fresh hand-baked bread, right? Hyun's home-baked bread as climbing snacks? Innovative, isn't it? Ju instantly turned it into a competition, made a jab about fueling his bicep power to beat my bouldering sim score. I must admit, his friendly rivalry spirit and the thought of watching him struggle to keep up sounds like total entertainment. Challenge accepted, Ju. Also, Yuna asked if I'd mastered any new Italian dishes recently. I'm working on perfecting my carbonara recipe. But that's a story for another time. The chat conversation took an amusing turn, ended up reminiscing our last camping trip. I bet you still remember the mosquito banquet we had, with Yuna as the main course. Oh man, that was hilarious. Jew claims he's ready for the next trip, stocked up on mosquito repellent and all, but we'll see how that goes. Gosh, look at me, all worked up over bread and reminiscing about escapades. Exciting, isn't it? How baking a simple loaf of bread could trigger this cascade of memories and future plans. It's like I've been kneading the past, present, and future all together, if you see what I mean. Whew, anyway, now that I've talked your ear off about my trip down memory lane and delicious bread, I think it's time I pulled that loaf out of the oven. You know what's funny? I never thought I'd see myself embraced in a sun salutation at the crack of dawn on the beach of all places. I'm telling you, man, it was incredible. I had Yara guiding me, remember Yara? The yoga instructor I started sessions with last week. She's brilliant, man, and the way she guides the process, it's so effortless and calming. The sea breeze brushing against my face, the sun peeping out over the horizon, and just this overall sense of peace washing over me, making me feel like I was in sync with everything around me. I mean, can you believe it? Me finding the same kind of peace outside a kitchen. It's just a whole different kind of baking, you know? Molding the mind instead of dough, letting the universe do its thing as with the yeast, basking in the joy of it all, just like when I pull out a perfect loaf. So I shared this in the group chat with Yuna and Juwan, and guess what Yuna says? Yoga on the beach? I'm in. And now looks like next time we won't be just two silhouettes practicing against the rising sun. Dude, you should join us. Imagine all of us standing in the warrior pose against the morning hue. Now that's a picture for the gram. Juwan, the ever-witty soul, says he'd rather bring donuts than pose like a tree. Now I said I'm sticking to my proteins, but I mean donuts on the beach, post-yoga, sun blazing over a golden horizon? Sounds like a scene from a dream. At least that's more likable than when I accidentally overcooked scones. Ah, that's a memory. We still haven't stopped laughing about those bricks, as Yuna calls them. But hey, it's all fair and fun, right? And I promise my bread's much better now, a good trade for a scone. Oh darn, here I go again talking about food when I've just come out of my tranquil yoga state. But who can blame me, right? You know how passionate I am about cooking. And don't worry, I'll soon master pastries, just you wait and see. Well, gotta go, got more Italian dishes to master, no rest for the wicked. Catch you later.